Steven and I did not have sex for 6 months.
Why are you telling him that?
Hey everyone, welcome to the vlog. So today I want to talk about sex, or lack thereof. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex.
Can we not?
The reason we didn't have sex for 6 months is because he was a stank-ass bastard.
Well, I was a stank-ass bastard because we weren't having sex, so it didn't matter.
The catch-22.
See? The reverse.
Obviously, this is a very personal thing to talk about, but I think it's important. Here's why. After I had the baby, both my sisters were like, yeah, you know, a couple months and you're good. Even my OBGYN was like, you're good after 6 weeks. 6 weeks postpartum happened and I was like, I am not ready. By the way, I do not want to scare those of you who are pregnant with your first baby. It's all okay. It's all worth it. You're going to have this little angel baby. So don't worry. Some women can have sex after 6 weeks. Some women can have sex after 2 months, after 3 months. For me, each month would go by, we would try, and it was extremely painful. We could not do it. We couldn't even get it. We couldn't even get So I got super depressed around it. I felt like, well, my body just completely stopped working. I would email and call my OBGYN every month. What's going on? It's 4 months. I still can't. It's 5 months. I still can't. Even though I had technically healed, it was still too painful. This video is for any woman who is currently going through that. I want you to know there is a solution. I found a solution. It worked brilliantly, and I'm about to share it with you. If you have had painful sex, if you're currently experiencing painful sex, or if it's too painful to where you can't even have sex, please listen up. This video is for you. Share this to any woman who's going through this. It's so important. It's about 5 months postpartum. I was very discouraged. I emailed my doctor. I went in for like a 4th checkup. She's like, everything is fine. You're healed. My doctor then suggested that I go to a pelvic floor therapist. What the hell is a pelvic floor therapist?
What the hell is a pelvic floor therapist?
You're about to find out, and within a month of going, completely healed.
Yeah!
I've invited Jillian, my pelvic floor therapist, to come on and answer some questions. Of all my friends and family that had babies, none of them had this issue, or at least none of them talked about this issue. And I felt so incredibly alone and broken, and that I didn't work, and that it was never going to get better. I was very skeptical to go to this pelvic floor therapist. I didn't think anyone was going to work. I thought I was permanently broken. I went and it worked. Pelvic floor, hell!
Hey, have I got a pelvic floor?
Well, I just want to thank you for doing this. So do you want to talk about like how common is it for women to have painful intercourse?
Actually, there was a good study done in 2015 where they followed women postpartum. Just with that study alone, after 3 months of postpartum, 45% of the women had pain with intercourse still.
Wow.
At 6 months, 43%.
No.
Yes. So it's almost 50% still at 6 months. And then 12 months still was 28%. And then at 18 months, so already after a year, right? Then it's still like 23% of women were still having pain with intercourse.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly common issue.
Yeah. It's not normal, but common.
Right. Not normal, but common. And for some reason, nobody wants to talk about it.
Exactly. It's still a little taboo, right? Even just talking about sex. Like how many times do you actually go to your primary physician and even talk about sex?
Right.
Not at all.
I remember you telling me like a lot of women, they'll just have painful intercourse because they don't know that there's a solution. So they're like, I guess this is just it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like I still get patients that come in and tell me that either they go get checked and because there's nothing like physically going on or that they don't see, right? They don't physically see something wrong, like there's no infection or something like that. Then they think, oh, well, you're fine then. And they continue to have intercourse and they're like, but I'm not fine. I'm still having pain. Like people even said, you just need to relax.
Yes.
And it's so sad because there is something still going on. So for example, the pelvic floor muscles, that's like a huge contributor. So there are people who go years of having pain with intercourse and didn't realize that it could actually just be their pelvic floor muscles that are just like any other muscle, just like your biceps, your triceps, just like that. They contract and they relax, right?
Yes.
So what we do with pelvic floor therapy is that we address those muscles. So what ends up happening is sometimes those pelvic floor muscles can be guarded. So for example, to keep it simple, so we all know this area in our neck. If it's really guarded and really tense and someone tries to come in and like release it, how great does that feel?
Not good.
Not that great, right? Sometimes there's these trigger points that develop in those muscles. So the same thing can actually happen in the pelvic floor muscles. And then you imagine if you're having pain with an activity, right? And you're constantly having pain with that activity, what do you think is going to happen to those muscles? Are they just going to be like, oh, this feels great? No, they're going to continue to guard and continue to tense up or shorten or whatnot, or even develop these trigger points. So another thing when it comes to pain is always perceived by the brain. Pain is an alert system of the body to protect you. So sometimes even now, if you're constantly having pain with sex or that activity, your body's going to try to protect you from it. So even before you're about to even do intercourse or have sex, your pelvic floor muscles may start to guard up and tense up for protection. So imagine not doing any treatment for that and constantly having that.
That's the thing too. Like you were saying, there's no infection, you're healed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I went back to the doctor, she's like, you're fine, you're healed. Remember, I was convinced, I'm like, what if I'm not healed properly? What if that's why? You know, what if she's not seeing something, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was nothing there. You couldn't see anything, but there was very real pain.
Yeah. And there's also, say, if someone tears, right?
Yeah.
With the vaginal delivery. So the scar or that tear can be healed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't still be painful. So when there's a tear in the skin, it heals up not like the tissue it was before. It's adhesions, it's scar tissue, lacks blood supply. And if it's immobile, that area could then become painful. Your body's like, why is that part of my body not moving like the other parts, right? So that's another thing that we look at when we're treating the pelvic floor is was there a tear during the delivery, and can we work on that scar tissue and make it more mobile again and desensitize it so it's not painful?
Right. You had talked to me when I would come and see you, and I think I came to you for about a month. Was it?
Yeah, you were really quick.
Yeah.
You're like, bam, bam.
Yes, and you gave me exercises to do, and then and still to this day, you know, sometimes I do have to do them and I still have to breathe, you know, because there's still that memory, and I could still tense up. Like you were saying, your body protects you from pain. So still a process. Yep. But you were saying that in America, especially, like women will have birth and then it's just like, okay, in 6 weeks you're fine and everything's fine. Yeah.
Well, in Europe, it's more, it's a standard of care to be able to have more, like, be seen and see a pelvic floor physical therapist.
It's more a standard of care.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas here, it's like you get your 6-week follow-up and then you're like, okay, go take care of your baby now. And you're like, birth is such a traumatic thing. Like it's whether it's a C-section or a vaginal delivery, like your body is going through a traumatic event. And so it really amazes me that you literally just see a doctor one time and they're kind of like, oh, go ahead. But I think that also has to do with just women's healthcare is still pretty much lacking. But the beautiful thing is that more and more pelvic floor therapists are emerging and a lot more people are learning about it. You're doing an interview right now about it. Like a lot more people are becoming educated on it, which I'm like, right on.
I love it because I was skeptical. I had never heard of pelvic floor therapy, but I was also desperate and felt broken and that I just didn't work anymore. And I was convinced this was just how it was going to be.
And some people don't want to talk about it. Right. Because it's a very vulnerable thing to talk about and not many are discussing. So then you don't realize how common it is. But I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't common. Right. Like a good chunk of my patients are pelvic pain, like with intercourse specifically. Okay.
And there is hope and there is a solution. And that is amazing.
Real
quick, let's talk Kegels.
Yay. The lovely Kegels.
I love when you were like, Kegels is not always the answer.
Yeah.
Not always Kegels. Kegels does not solve all your problems today.
No, hallelujah. Thank you. No, it doesn't.
Like in my case, I was told by you to not do them.
Exactly. So imagine a muscle that is in pain, okay, and it's already in a guarded state, right? Do you want to constantly be working out that muscle? Not really. You may want to learn how to contract that muscle, but most importantly is learning how to release and relax it. So as soon as you're able to get the pain down, then that's when we start kind of introducing Kegels or more strengthening or contraction, because you do want to have that awareness and that connection with the pelvic floor. But if someone's having a lot of pain, or say their pelvic floor muscles are highly guarded, Kegels are not quite the answer or the thing that you want to start them on. It could actually develop more pain or contribute or provoke pain if they did Kegels.
Well, thank you so I know, mind blown.
Know that you're not alone and you're not the only one. That is one of the most common things I hear. If you want more information, there's also, you could look at the Instagram of our clinic, which is Femina PT. It's a great resource there. And there's so many more pelvic health therapists coming out there and sharing knowledge and making sure that everyone gets checked before they start doing Kegels.
I'm going to link your Instagram. So you guys have to give her a follow. All right. Well, thank you so much.
One final thing is just hoping that everyone's staying safe during these crazy times and really, really taking care of their mental health and knowing that your mental health can impact your pain if you are dealing with pain. So please seek out help, and we are here for you.
That's so true. So important.
Definitely.
In 2020, man, what the fuck? Because this year,
I'm like going cuckoo. I know.
Honestly, what is July going to bring?
I don't know. I feel like 2020 is I don't even know what 2020 is anymore. Let's see how it goes, day at a time.
Yes, it is a trip, but I'm thinking aliens. In July.
I would not be surprised.
No, I would not. Hey everyone, thank you for watching and thank you for listening to my story. If you feel compelled, please share your experience below. I would love to start a conversation because like I said before, no one had had my specific experience, and I think it's important for women to start talking about what their experience was, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That way women won't feel so alone. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time. Yay, we did it.